definition of love is total care and commitment and loyalty, and kindness.
Kindness. Okay. What do you think is the most important thing to keep a relationship running? What's needed to keep a healthy relationship?
Compromise. You have to compromise just about everything and sacrifice. You have to make many sacrifices to make sure the other person has a little time for themselves or a time to do what they need to do, and hope that in return they'll make a sacrifice when it's needed for you.
What type of sacrifice? What do you mean? Like what type of scale?
On the scale of if there is something really important that both can benefit from, but one needs to do something else that's also important, but they need to reason it out and figure out which one takes precedence, which one is more beneficial, and make the one who's more beneficial make that sacrifice that's more beneficial to the relationship.
What's the worst way do you think is to destroy a relationship? What's the quickest thing that kills relationships today?
Infidelity.
Infidelity.
Yeah.
What do you think causes infidelity? They're not interested in that person. They just greedy. What fuels that fire?
I think it's just like Martin Luther King said, lack of money. It's always the economics. Economics break everybody up every time.
So what role? How much of a role does money play in a relationship?
About 98%.
Black relationships.
About 98% to 98%.
98%.
Yeah.
And who has the issue of it more? Does a woman have?
Woman mostly.
What are they looking for when they zip?
They're looking for somebody who can satisfy their every need.
Okay.
And woman has more needs than a man simply because you're a woman. And they'll think of things that's maybe even silly to a man, but that's what they want and that's what they're going to have. And it's usually costs a lot.
Has it always been this way?
No, of course not. The society we live in is capitalism, and it requires everybody to have money for whatever they need. Okay. And since women has greater needs, they're going to have greater wants, and that's what destroys the relationship.
Okay. I think back to when my mom and my dad was, when they got married, and that was back in like the 60s and the 70s. How has marriage then progressed to marriage now?
Okay, back then, things were a little bit cheaper. Of course, the economy probably was not as good, but because things were cheaper and people were more of an entrepreneur and people were more unified, because there were less money available, people really depend on each other for support. But today, people can be very independent depending on the kind of money they make, so they can say, forget about you, I've got mine, get yours. And that creates a separation, breaks the unity, the bond that they had 30, 40, 50 years ago. Okay. And that's totally gone unless we can recover the economy.
You think there are gender roles in relationships these days, and what are the gender roles?
Gender role is very vague these times because it's a breadwinner could be the male or the female, and whoever wins the bread is the authority, is the
So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the man.
No, it don't. Not to.
It's the woman.
No, it doesn't. It just depends on who's making the money.
Okay.
The most money. The most money. Sorry.
The most money.
Right.
How do you think that plays on? You know how some men they feel that they should be the breadwinners, but the women are the breadwinners. How does that?
That's me.
How does that affect the relationship? What does that have any effect on the relationship?
Oh, it devastates the relationship. It belittles the man. It destroys his confidence. It makes him stagnates the man.
You think the woman takes that in consideration and supports her man, or does she do the opposite and runs with it? And
well, the degrees varies. It varies depending on how the relationship begins, the history of the relationship, how they met, and the family that involved, or the people that involved. But basically, in general, woman, the average woman really don't care that much because they can always find somebody who can do it, because it's always somebody out there who's making more money than somebody else, and the woman feels that she can find that person always.
Okay. Do you think slavery still affects African Americans and their mindset and work
ethic
today?
Yes, absolutely. Slavery is a thing that is a mind conditioning of the mind, and it takes a while to break out of it because it's basically the comprehension of words or the comprehension of comprehension of symbols. And the symbols have different meaning depending on the level of consciousness or education. And a lot of black people, African American, can't afford university. It's too expensive, just like a expensive car. Everybody can afford an expensive car. Only some will make it money. Therefore, a lot of people are confusion. They need things, but they can't afford it, so they go in debt. And going in debt, lose self-esteem also, because every man knows he can do whatever he want to do. He can know he can achieve. He know he can achieve. It's built in. And to lack achievement means to lack confidence.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, going from slavery to having a black president, where do we stand as a black race in your eyes? Significant progression. Have we made medium progression, or are we still in the same boat we were in 75 to 100 years ago?
Well, I think we made a tremendous amount of progression, but I still believe that we have a long ways to go. I think we have done really well. I think we're progressing really slow, but I think that our needs and our necessity are greater than the time that it's progressing. We're behind we're way behind in progression over decades. But there has been progression. There's been a lot of great progression that wouldn't have happened if we didn't have a black president, I don't believe.
Okay. And lastly, why do you think amongst African Americans there's a high decline rate in marriages?
Back to the economy again. They don't have no money. Money takes nobody to marry you if you're broke. I mean, all right, 1 out of 10. No, wait, 1 out of 50. No, 1 out of 90. Okay. The odds are great. I don't know.
So is it true to say cash rules everything around you?
You said it. I did. I agree with you though.
Thank you for the time.